everybody, Andy from StarWars.com here again at Lucasfilm headquarters. This week we saw Zeb and Kallus form an unlikely alliance in the Honorable Ones, and now, as usual, I'm here to take you behind the scenes. So grab onto your mysterious, glowing rock things. This is Rebels Recon. Docking on an abandoned Imperial construction module above Geonosis, the Rebels find themselves in a trap set by Agent Kallus.
How perceptive.
During a heated bout of one-on-one combat, Zeb and Kallus end up in the same escape pod and crash land on a Geonosian moon.
If anyone finds us, it'll be the Empire, and you will be captured.
Pinned by creatures, the two must put their differences aside to survive, and develop a unique understanding for one another along the way. This week, an unexpected union formed between Zeb and Kallus while alone on the moon of Geonosis. I sat down with cast and crew to talk about how this will affect these characters going forward, as well as how it might change our opinion of Kallus. Check it out. Zeb gets trapped on a freezing moon in the Honorable Ones with one of his mortal enemies, Agent Kallus. How are the pair able to work together to survive?
They're both warriors, and they understand that. They understand that they have to do what's necessary to survive. And in that process, I think there's a bonding between them and an unfoldment of parts of their past that they either weren't willing to look at or weren't able to look at. I think it's one of my favorite moments, actually, working on the show.
We get to see another side of Kallus in this episode. How do you go about changing the character of a villain into someone that audiences can be sympathetic with?
Kallus builds on some of what fandom has appreciated from the Empire. In the vast organization that is the Empire, there are people who thought they were doing the right thing. Now we're given the opportunity to give those characters a moment of pause and reflection and ask themselves, are they really doing the right thing?
Kallus, based on his first encounter with Lasat, kind of judged Zeb with the same lens. And that's something we really wanted to explore, is once you get to know your enemy, you realize that you have more in common. I personally hate the idea of like a one-dimensional villain, because you really don't know what's driving them. And Kallus, I think what's really interesting about him is we're finally getting to see the other side of him develop and revealed.
I started to draw Zeb and Kallus sitting and talking, and you start to see that image. And what's that like? And I think the fun thing is that Kallus is more exuberant and over the top than he ever is when he's upside down, hanging and thrown like a lawn dart into the ceiling, and the freak out sounds he's making. You start to root for them as a team together. And we wanted to contrast the warmth that Zeb would receive versus the cold nature of the Empire.
The Honorable Ones is the first time we've heard about Geonosis in a while. What's happened there since then?
Well, the last time we saw Geonosis, or it was implied we saw Geonosis, was actually at the end of Revenge of the Sith. It was this sort of incubation place where the Death Star project was originated, because Geonosians were the ones tasked to build it in the first place.
You start to wonder like how they're building this thing. Even in a galaxy, how are they keeping it secret? Just on the supplies alone, you know, there must be a bigger story for how they're keeping everybody quiet. Are they buying everybody off? We just decided to touch upon that story briefly.
The really ominous note is that Ezra gets the feeling that something terrible has happened on the planet. He's not sensing any life. The mystery of Geonosis is something we'll definitely explore later on in the series.
You know, Kallus and Zeb aren't the only people in this episode with an unlikely friendship. Can you guess the other two? I'll wait. That was a long fake pause to make you think I could hear anything on this side of the screen. It's Pablo and me. This week, as always, I tracked him down to ask him your urgent Star Wars questions. Watch. Hey Pablo, I have two really common questions for you today.
Okay.
So the first one's from Bacon the Rebel, and he asks, if Hera is Cham Syndulla's daughter, then who was the little orange Twilight girl we saw with him in the Clone Wars?
Oh yeah, you know, a lot of people thought Numa was Hera for the longest time until obviously this episode made it clear that Numa is Numa and Hera is Hera. So now everyone's looking at that little orange girl. She's just another Twi'lek villager. You gotta remember, Cham Syndulla was like a folk hero. He was a very popular leader, and popular leaders give speeches, kiss babies, and hold children while they inspire others.
All right, cool. And the next one is definitely the most popular question I saw after last week's episode. People were wondering why Hera switched into a French or Ryloth accent when speaking to her father.
Well, you know, Hera left at a young age, and she kind of put her past behind her, and that includes talking the way she used to talk when she was at home. And I think anyone who suddenly gets exposed to something from their past, be it returning home or talking to their parents, especially when it's emotional, will find their original way of talking coming back. And you know, speaking as a Canadian, it's something that I've experienced and know a little something about.
Great. Thanks, Pablo. Have questions about the honorable ones or anything else you want to know about Rebels? Tweet it to @StarWars using the hashtag RebelsRecon, and we'll answer what we can online. Now, let's turn the lights down low and get ready, because we have an exclusive clip from our next episode, Shroud of Darkness.
I'm thinking this planet's not gonna work out as a base after all.
Saying that the key part of secret base is the secret location, no, it will not work out. Where's Chopper?
I signaled him. He's either lost or ignoring us.
Oh, he's not lost. Cross!
Thanks for watching Rebels Recon. We'll be back next week with another brand new episode. But in the meantime, check out our episode guide for the honorable ones on StarWars.com, and if you haven't already, download the Star Wars app, because it's awesome. I'll see you next week. Hey everybody, Andy from StarWars.com here at Lucasfilm headquarters. In Homecoming, we saw Hera begrudgingly team up with her father, Clone War legend Cham Syndulla, and now I'm gonna take you behind the scenes. This is Rebels Recon.